Okay, so the stock market is like going through the roof today, right? And they're all excited on TV. And of course, the way this is being presented is, oh, look at the economy. It's booming with Joe Biden. Look, Joe Biden's here in the stock market. First of all, there's a couple things here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is an average of a certain number of stocks in the entire stock exchange, okay? It's not an average of the entire stock market. It's an average of a handful of stocks, and those stocks are up, however much they're up, okay? So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is a real misleading gauge to go by on how the condition of the economy is. However, with that being said, the reason that some things in the stock market are going up has nothing to do with Biden. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Because just yesterday, what happened? Trump won every primary again yesterday. There were 5 state Republican primaries yesterday. Trump won them all. Here in Florida, he won 80% of the vote, okay? And that's...
So you think that him winning is what's causing this
Exactly.
surge?
See, the stock market, all the financial markets, for the most part, stock market, oil, commodities and stuff, they're based on the expectation of future things, okay?
Right.
How things are going to be in the future. And we're just a few months away until President Trump is President-elect President Trump, okay? So he just took this huge sweep. You understand, these people thought they were going to have Trump in jail right now. And not only is he free, unlike Peter Navarro, unfortunately, not only is he free, he's winning everything, he's coming back. So anything in the stock market that's up, it's up because the big stock market investor types, the Wall Street types, believe Donald Trump is coming back into office, and that's going to be a period of huge economic gains. In fact, if you go back to Trump's first election, when he became president-elect, boom, the economy just took off because he was going to be there in a couple months in charge in January, right? That's what's happening now. It's just happening a little early because in the first election, we knew he was going to win, but the media, the Wall Street people, they still could not get their minds wrapped around the idea that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton. The next morning, the stock market just – now, of course, Obama took credit for that, but it was because of it. So this Dow Jones thing today, it's doing well because of Trump. And when
you're done.
And so far as the economy – I don't care if the Dow Jones Industrial Average goes up 10,000 points today. I know it won't, but say it went up 10,000 points.
Yep.
How is that affecting how much we're paying for things, right? I was talking earlier this week that I wanted to buy a new car for myself. I wanted to buy a pickup, and I go to the dealership, $80,000, $120,000. I'm talking about Fords and Dodges, okay? I'm not talking about some Porsche pickup. I'm talking about a Ford or a Dodge, $80,000,
incredible.
$120,000.
It makes me nervous because we're going to need a car by next year, and our other car's like 14 years old, and it's starting to fall apart.
My car, yes.
Your car, and I keep telling you, well, let's wait till Trump's in office. Yeah. Obviously, it'll be better, but I don't mind getting a pickup, but I want it to be comfortable. I have back problems, and I want it to have like a cool, computer thing and screen and all the modern conveniences that I like in cars. I love that, and the back seat like a 4-door. My stepfather has it. He has an F-150, and it's nice and it's huge, and you have a whole back seat that's big. It's comfortable.
It's like an SUV.
And I know you wanted to put your scooter in to like transport your scooter in, so it has to be like an open. I want to Telluride, but Brian wants the pickup. But when you told me the prices, I don't think a pickup is in our future. The Telluride is cheaper than these pickups. The Telluride's about $50,000.
So getting back to this, so whatever the stock market is today, we still have this insane inflation that's going on. Okay.
Yes.
So the stock market right now is the only thing to take from the stock market going up today is that Wall Street believes Trump is coming back. Okay, now today, Bob Alinsky testified in Congress, and I want to play a little bit of audio here from Byron Donalds and also AOC. And I know a lot of people are talking about Byron Donalds being Trump's running mate. Byron Donalds is a congressman from Florida, and remember the problem. You can't have both of them from the same state.
I don't think that's true.
It is true. Even Dick Morris has said so.
Everybody is talking about him on the news and everything. I would think somebody would have mentioned that by now. You're the only person I hear mentioning that.
No, Dick Morris told me that.
Well, maybe Trump is still a resident of New Jersey.
No, he's a resident of Florida because he voted yesterday for himself in Florida. He's a resident of Florida. So now what has to happen, just let me explain this and get around this. If the president and the vice presidential candidates are from the same state,
right,
according to the Constitution, according to law, they cannot receive the electoral votes from that state. And Florida is a big state. We got a lot of electoral votes.
Yes.
We're so, this happened in 2000 with Bush and Cheney. They were both from Texas. Cheney went to Wyoming where he had a house and got a driver's license, and nobody even mentioned it. But this isn't Bush and Cheney, okay? This is Donald Trump. So I don't think they're going to let him get a driver's license in New York or New Jersey and say, oh, okay. So there's a lot of complexities there. Mm-hmm. Byron Donalds, I love Byron Donalds. I think he'd be a great vice president. He would be my first pick if it's possible. If they have a way to do it, he'd be my first pick right now because he is tough. I've seen him in these hearings, and this audio I'm going to play in a few minutes, you'll hear. But if that can't happen, I'd like to see him be the governor after Ron DeSanctimonious' term is up because this is Ron DeSantis' last term. He's out, thankfully, after this. We got 3 more years of this, but, Byron, a little more than 2.5. But Byron Donalds would be a great governor, although he says he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be governor. He wants to stay in Washington politics.
Oh,
but,
okay. Well,
but
too bad.
All those things change. But Byron Donalds today, they had Bob Alinsky there. And let me just play this, and then we'll talk about this. That's our dog, Nina.
She has been doing that all morning. I'm a little worried about her.
Yeah, Nina is on her last probably year of life here. She's been having a tough time. All right, so let me play this. This is Byron Donalds today, and this is during the Bob Alinsky hearing.
Now, here's where the fun stuff comes in, everybody, and I got a minute to do it, so we're going to get this done. On August 14, there is $150,000 that is transferred from Owasco PC, which is controlled by Hunter Biden, to Lion Hall Group, which is controlled by James Biden. I have the records here, Mr. Chairman, of the $150,000 that has gone to Lion Hall Group from Owasco PC. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to order.
On August 28th, and I believe we have a screenshot for everybody in the room. On August 28th, Mr. Chairman, we have the withdrawal ticket from Lion Hall Group that is signed by Sarah Biden, who is the wife of Jim Biden, for $50,000 to withdraw from Lion Hall Group. I want to submit that withdrawal receipt for the record.
Without objection to order.
On September 3rd, on August 28th, actually, Mr. Chairman, we have the deposit reference into Sarah Jones Biden's account on the same day she withdrew it from Lion Hall. I want to submit
Without
that.
Without objection to order.
Last document. On September 3rd, 2007, from Sarah Biden's own personal account, there is a check that is written to Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., the president of the United States today, for $40,000 signed loan repayment. A loan repayment, by the way, that Joe Biden's own personal accountant, Mr. Eric Schwerin, has no record for. I want to submit that for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
To the members of the committee, it is clear that the source of this money came from CEFC, and that CEFC is a company that is directly linked to the CCP and actually the chairman of the CCP, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, Chairman Xi Jinping. With that, I yield.
Okay. Wow. So he basically proved that Biden is getting money from China.
This is what Byron Donalds said. By the way, Byron is the African-American translation of Brian, my name, right? Like if I were black, I'd be Byron Craig. But Byron Donalds, he's amazing, isn't he? What he just did,
I love him.
He didn't just read things off. He had photocopies of these checks and money transfers, and he showed them. He entered in the evidence. He had the documented evidence of the Bidens getting paid by China, by the CCP, right? The extended family, and then writing the checks directly to Joe Biden. What Byron Donalds did here today, and this was today live on TV, what Byron Donalds did with the records, presented all the records, photocopies of everything, bank transfers, checks, everything else. He showed the bribes paid by the CCP, by China, to the Biden family, and then them writing the checks to Joe Biden. It's the payoffs and the money laundering. Payoffs and money and money, and it's not even there's not even really any degrees of separation. And the reason there's so much documented evidence is because Joe Biden is a made man in the DC mafia. He's been doing financial kickback bribery things since he went to Washington, and he's completely fearless. So they don't even really bother covering it up too much. And he's making these large deposits, just under 50,000 in this one, without telling his accountant or anything. I mean, this guy is busted.
Well, that just shows that the question everybody needs to ask is what is China getting in return?
That's correct.
And
that's the big question.
And that's the big question. Why are they paying
I'll tell
him? I think we can all make our guesses.
There's all kinds of things. The spy balloons that went over our nuclear silos and our stealth bases.
Yep, that's true.
When Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, he gave China some major things. One, that big Air Force base we had that had the thickest runways that couldn't be bombed out over there. That's on the Chinese border. That was an area where we were spying on China through that base that we abandoned in Afghanistan. So Biden shut down our spy base on the Chinese border in Afghanistan and gave them the base. Plus,
incredible.
When he left behind all our equipment, which included the Blackhawks, which were brand new Blackhawks, all those weapons he left behind, our tanks and our Blackhawks had all the latest computer tech of the United States. He gave all that to China. So, and God only knows what else. I mean, those are just a couple things that everybody could see that he gave to China, Joe Biden, in exchange for this money.
Yep.
He's just evil.
Yeah.
Biden is just an evil, evil man.
Yep. Yep. And look how our country's suffering because of this.
This is the question, though, I have about Biden.
This tells me that China is behind.
They run our country.
They're running the country. This is
America has fallen.
Cold War on a whole new level. And they are behind. This is why the border is open. That's to me what he's giving in exchange.
Yeah.
Is the border
fentanyl's coming from China.
Yeah, they're attacking us through drugging our kids.
Yeah,
allowing these illegals in that are bringing in the drugs and diseases and all kinds of things. I mean, there's like a huge measles outbreak in South Florida. That's happened not far from where I grew up.
I saw an article the other day.
The plague was in New Mexico.
The plague is where do you think
all this is coming from? These
question.
People that come into the country from the southern border are not being inoculated.
So let me ask this, Kathy, of you. That you're right, and let me ask you this question because this is what and the plague. Do they have treatment for the plague? Like when they say the plague's in New Mexico, do they have treatment for that?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Say you got
mutated.
Say you got measles, which is a virus. I don't think there's a treatment for that.
Yeah.
It was pretty much annihilated in this country because we all had the measles vaccine, and then smallpox is another one that was pretty much annihilated through vaccination. And I don't know if that's come back, but that's another virus. So there's not much you can do with viruses, or maybe smallpox is bacterial. I'm not sure. But these things get eradicated. And then you have people that come into the country that don't have vaccination programs. They're not inoculated, and they come here, and now you have an outbreak, not to mention these criminals coming in that are killing our citizens. It's happening more and more often. It's just crazy what's happening. And here you got Byron Donalds, who has proof. Well, let's see what happens with this. He's showing proof of a check being paid to Joe Biden. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would think that's a crime. I mean,
no, it's a crime. Yeah,
and when was this check written to him?
I don't have the date, but
when did he deposit this check?
It's on the check. I don't remember, but it's bribes and money laundering. And a few things here. One, on these diseases like the plague.
Yeah,
these things that's like for the Middle Ages, man. What I wonder with these diseases that they're bringing here, American doctors have never seen these diseases. And I wonder if they even recognize them. Somebody comes into the emergency room and they're sick and they've got the plague. How long does it take them to find out they've got the plague? Because that's not something they would generally test for, search for. Now, a thing about Biden, and you guys can let me know what you think about this in the comments, because I'm really not 100% sure either way on this. Does Joe Biden know he's a criminal who takes bribes and launders money, or does he think that this is just how life and business work?
Well, like I've said, all criminals justify what they do and rationalize it so they can sleep at night. So I'm sure that's what he does, and he rationalizes it somehow in his mind that makes it okay. And that's what he's just got a criminal mindset, and to him it's just another day at the office.
Mm-hmm. Now listen, free shipping continues at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You get the free shipping on whatever the item is, no matter how large, no matter how small, no matter how light, no matter how heavy. But you also get whatever the discounted price is, right? There's huge savings on the MyPillow mattress toppers, massive savings site-wide, up to 80% in fact. So go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane, and remember when you do that, Kane at checkout at mypillow.com, you're supporting this program and all of my content, the podcast, the radio show, my YouTube channel, everything, okay? When you use the promo code Kane at checkout, this free shipping offer will end without notice. I check it every day to make sure it's still in effect. It will end without notice. I don't know when. I have no idea. I have to check every day. So go there right now and load up mypillow.com, free shipping site-wide with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, we're going to take a break. When we get back, do not miss the next segment because this Bob Alinsky hearing got really nuts today. It went really off the rails, and I'm going to share that with you after this.
If you think you know everything about love and romance, guess again. From author Philosopher Stone comes the book of Ladies and Gentlemen, Love and Romance, available on Amazon. When you read of Ladies and Gentlemen, you will see love in a whole new light. The author discusses the complexities of modern relationships, dismantling misconceptions and uncovering hidden truths. From societal pressures to primal instincts, readers will explore the driving forces behind human interactions, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. Race, finances, and age dynamics are all dissected, shedding light on how these factors influence our romantic lives. No stone is left unturned, as the author challenges popular beliefs and exposes secrets about men and women. When you finish this book, you will have a whole new understanding of your own love life, past, present, and future. Order your copy right now on Amazon of Ladies and Gentlemen, Love and Romance, from author Philosopher Stone. From author J.M. Rock, the historian and economist featured on and hated by National Public Radio, comes the book Death by Socialism, available on Amazon. Picture 2030, a world without private property, self-ownership, or privacy. The World Economic Forum's vision may sound enticing, but in Death by Socialism, author J.M. Rock dismantles the illusions and reveals the true cost of leftism. Having infiltrated every corner of America, leftism has silently eroded the principles that built our nation. It's time to take a stand before it's too late. Our children's future depends on it. Decades after the fall of the Berlin Wall, socialism has resurfaced, threatening our very liberties. J.M. Rock's insightful perspectives have been featured on National Public Radio and challenges the narrative as well as exposes the risks that we are facing. Don't let the greatest threat to liberty define its terms. Order your copy of Death by Socialism, available on Amazon for just $17.76. Arm yourself with knowledge and safeguard our future. Death by Socialism, from author J.M. Rock. Order now on Amazon and protect the ideals that make America great. Are you in need of a little encouragement? Are you searching for a spark of intrigue? Could you use a good laugh? Then check out Genesis-Revelation.life. Genesis-Revelation.life is your go-to destination for unique and heartfelt designs that resonate with your spirit. Picture this: thousands of meticulously crafted items, each one with a personal touch, from the whimsical to the profound. The designs at Genesis-Revelation.life cover a wide spectrum, ensuring there's something for everyone. Whether you're drawn to the warmth of Scripture or prefer non-scripture items, they've got you covered. T-shirts, leggings, totes, headbands, crossbody bags, blankets, journals, napkins, aprons, coasters, drinkware, and that's just the beginning. But what sets Genesis-Revelation.life apart from the rest is simple: a sprinkle of humor, a dash of intrigue, and a layer of comfort. Each design tells a story, seeking to connect with you on a deeper level. In a world that often feels impersonal, Genesis-Revelation.life stands out as a place where every item is designed with heart and soul. Tell your story with these unique designs. Shop now and let your spirit shine. And make sure to share the store on all your social media so your friends can discover Genesis-Revelation.life too. Genesis-Revelation.life, where every design is a connection waiting to happen. Start shopping right now. Genesis-Revelation.life. From author Paul Swan comes a thought-provoking exploration of the dual nature of existence in the book How Life is Heaven and Hell, available on Amazon. In How Life is Heaven and Hell, author Paul Swan guides readers through the highs and lows of the human experience with both wisdom and empathy, drawing on personal anecdotes and insights from philosophy, psychology, and spirituality. The author illuminates the paradoxical nature of life as both heaven and hell, from the ecstatic highs of love and success to the crushing lows of loss and failure. Each chapter offers a nuanced examination of the emotions and experiences that define our lives. In How Life is Heaven and Hell, author Paul Swan challenges readers to confront their perceptions of happiness and suffering, guiding them towards a deeper understanding of themselves and their world. Inspiring, thought-provoking, and deeply compassionate, How Life is Heaven and Hell is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of embracing life in all its complexity. How Life is Heaven and Hell is a perfect addition to your book club. Order your copy right now and find wisdom in the face of adversity, as well as invaluable insights for finding peace, joy, and fulfillment. How Life is Heaven and Hell from author Paul Swan is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, audiobook, and Kindle Unlimited.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Now, I know people were worried this morning because I was telling people this morning in the first hour of the show this morning, I was having like chest pains. And I'm okay. All right. But
yeah, I was a little concerned.
I was too. I
don't like hearing that at all when I'm sitting at home and you're at work and you're going on the air saying you're having chest pains.
Well,
that scared me.
I was
a little worried.
Well, the news is stressful. I was really aggravated about the news this morning, and I almost took today off work, which how rarely I do that, to be like really sick to do that.
Yeah.
And I just was so disgusted that Peter Navarro's in a jail cell.
It's upsetting.
Here in Miami, here in Florida. And it was very upsetting, and it really ticked me off. And I got in the car in the driveway, and I wasn't feeling too hot. And before I left, I said, I looked at the clock. I said, I got about 10 or 15 minutes before I really have to leave. I was in the car in the driveway.
Yeah.
And I made a little short YouTube video.
Okay.
Like it was about 10 minutes long in the car in the driveway. I put it up on my YouTube channel. And then I wasn't really feeling good while I did that video. And I thought, well, I wasn't feeling too good. I said, maybe I just need to wake up a little bit. So I did this video thinking it'd get me going. And then after the video was over, I was like exhausted. I mean, this is like 5 a.m. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know if I should, maybe I should take the day off work. And then I was like, I'm dressed, I'm up, I'm ready to go. But the radio station's quite a long drive from the house. And
sometimes you have to, listen to your body and not ignore those kinds of feelings. Maybe it's God telling you, you need to rest.
Well, if I take off,
yeah,
like unexpectedly, like if I call and say I can take any day off I want. Okay, I have unlimited. I don't take any time off. If I was banking it up, I'd have like 10 years off. I take so little time off, but
true.
It's very complex for me to take off. A lot of people have to be informed if I take off without notice. So it's so much effort for me to take off. Like sometimes it's easier just to do it not feeling well than to do it. Okay, too many people have to be called and contacted and everything else. And plus, I've got the cruise coming up, April 27th. I'm leaving on our listener cruise, with many of you out there. I look forward to seeing you there. And that's a week that I'm going to be gone on the cruise, So I'm like, So I get to the radio station. I get into the studio. I get set up, and I'm really not feeling well. And I'm like, well, I'm here. And I looked at the clock, and I was there by myself. Mike, the board up, had not gotten there yet, and I was not feeling well. And I felt like this little pain in my chest, which I don't. That's not a heart attack. The heart attack you got like in your arm or something. It's like in my upper chest. Didn't feel good. Yeah, little.
That's
little
like
pain.
not a good spot.
No, it's not a good spot.
Now.
Not a good spot. And I'm looking at the clock.
You're at that critical age,
and I'm thinking, I've got in 10 minutes, I've got 3 hours. And when I do the show and this is true of anybody who does a 3-hour radio show every day. Anyone who does a 3-hour radio show is very intense. It's very high stress. Anyone, not just me, anyone who does a 3-hour broadcast, you take their blood pressure, it's always high. Everybody, no matter what the format is. This is
mine is always high at the doctor. I hate when the doctor takes
high.
it. Yeah. But they told me that's very normal. It's always much higher than it's supposed to be.
So I'm looking at the clock, and this was before the show, and this is something I've not done since I first started, and I'm like, okay, 10 minutes, it's showtime. I got 3 hours. This is really I'm not feeling good.
You should have come home. I mean, that was just stupid.
But, well, I'm here. I'm going to do it. So I go on the air. In fact, if you watch on the YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube, I had the camera, because I live stream on YouTube. I had the camera facing the wrong direction for like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the show, and You're making
me nervous.
One of our moderators, Christine, she our moderators in the YouTube live chat, they have my cell phone number, so they can text me. And Christine, one of our YouTube moderators, texted me and said, "You've got the camera backwards. It was facing the
this happens
computer
to
screen."
me. I think it's part of being middle aged, and for me, it's definitely like menopause. Like I don't
have menopause.
There's menopause.
I guess maybe that's what
men have drops in hormones. My brain just sometimes it does not work as well as it's harder to concentrate sometimes. And I was talking to my dad about it, who's 86. And, he said that's just happens when you start getting in your 50s. He said, I said, well, it's a little scary.
Yeah. He
said it's a little brain fog, they call it. But also when you have a lot on your mind, it makes it harder to concentrate and stuff. And things slip your mind. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah,
it's not as quite as sharp as you used to
So
be.
I get I think I'm plenty sharp. I just had a lot on my mind today. And so Christine texted me, and I always, when I first start the YouTube live stream every day, I always check it to make sure the audio's right and make sure the camera's right. And I was talking for 10, 15 minutes with the camera facing the wrong direction. I had no idea. So I just had to hit a button and got it, so that kind of tells you where I was at, okay? And then all this crap news about Peter Navarro. But as the show went on, I started feeling better, and I'm okay now, okay? But I'm looking forward to that vacation I got coming up at the end of April, because I most definitely need it. Okay, now Bob Alinsky, the Biden business partners, and I know we put Bob Alinsky on this pedestal, and he's coming forward. And I when he first came forward with Tucker, when Tucker was on Fox, he really came forward because he thought he was going to get killed because he's seen so much.
Right.
So he doesn't come forward because he's a good guy. He's come forward because, self-preservation. But, everything he says is backed up with evidence, like what Byron Donalds showed, right? So I call her Veruca Salt, AOC. She reminds me of Veruca Salt. I want it now, and it was her turn, and she was just having a fit with Bob Alinsky today. So let's play some of this. And
she has little temper tantrums.
Well, she's a spoiled brat. It's just the way it is.
That's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bob Alinsky, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir? Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime.
What was it? One of the Trump's up on RICO charges in Fulton County with Fannie.
That's what I thought.
So why is it in criminal court if it's not a crime? Did she just exonerate Trump? Isn't she?
It is a category. What is the
It's a category of crimes that you're then charged.
You have charges.
A long 100.
You have charges. Sir, please
want me to name the exact statute under RICO?
Yes.
Well, it's funny in this
because he can't name us. Who knows the statute?
She's so stupid.
She wants the federal statute with all those numbers and letters, and then who knows that?
Committee room. Everyone's not here. There's over 8
all right, sir. I reclaim my time.
Lawyers that went to law school.
I reclaim my time.
You guys
okay, thank you, sir. I reclaim my time. Clearly, what we are seeing here today is a continuation of the 15-month saga of the Republican majority lost in the desert.
Okay. Now, like the illegals. Okay. Now, what this is all about, this attitude, if you saw, yesterday, she's sucking up to the Biden regime, okay? And what happened was yesterday and the day before, some stories came out, and her district in New York City is overrun by illegals. And it looks like Tijuana, okay? And it looked really – she had 2 days of horrible press because of the illegals overrunning her district.
Right.
So she's out there sucking up to the Obama-Biden administration here so that they'll give her some protection because she's up for re-election too. And people in her district are plenty pissed. So that's what this is about.
For sure.
Impeachment 101. The majority party or whomever is raising impeachment must accuse the president of a high crime, a specific high crime or misdemeanor. I would like to submit to the record HRES 918, the House resolution to open this impeachment inquiry.
Without objection to order.
This resolution does not outline a high crime or misdemeanor.
Byron Donalds has the whole money laundering payoff operation documented sitting at the table with her.
Well,
and it's like it's not even there.
Biden's even admitted to doing things.
Yeah.
And that's still not enough. So, that's just politics. That's just how it is.
Well,
unless your name is Trump, you get away with murder.
I tell you guys every time there's a congressional hearing, I pay very little attention to these hearings. These hearings they're not trials. They have no bearing on anything. They always run like this. Okay? And this is, by the way, with both parties, not just the Democrats. When there's a witness up there, the party that's against that witness bashes them like that. They ask them these questions. When they start to answer, they reclaim their time.
That's why these hearings, I can't watch them. They're so annoying.
They are annoying. All they are
just scream at people.
Opportunities for the congressman. It's mostly in the House, in the Senate, to get free publicity
just
for their
showboat.
Exactly, their campaign moments for them. And she's really worried about those stories of the illegals.
I don't know why they keep electing her. I really think New York is primed to go red. I mean, it's a mess. And now DeSantis said that all the Venezuelans they're sending here, he's going to send them up to the Haitians. I mean, he's going to send them to Martha's Vineyard. That'll be fun.
Well, the last thing they want in Martha's Vineyard are black people.
Yeah, probably.
They get very upset when you send black people. The thing that's going on though with DeSantis, what's going to happen is they're going to use the U.S. Navy and cruise ships to bring the Haitians here, and we're going to be so overwhelmed. He's not going to be able to fly them to Martha's Vineyard. He'll be able to fly some, but not that many. We were talking about what did Biden take. There's news story out this afternoon about Chinese owning farmland.
Right. They've been buying it up.
Owning farmland. Farmland is a national security issue, and they own a lot. They don't come in and say, okay, we're the CCP. We want to buy up all these farms. They buy them up through front companies, right? It's like when Hillary gave 20% of our uranium to the Russians so they could arm their missiles aimed at us. They didn't sell it directly to Russia. They did it through some Canadian company, right? And that's what goes on with the Chinese. And the Chinese that own all this farmland, they can not grow crops or make sure the crops die. And then all of a sudden, we've got no strawberries. And you may not think that's a big deal, but if all of a sudden there were no strawberries, what impact would it have?
I think it's about
it controls our food.
Right. I think it's about helping them supply their own people with food.
It's all of that.
There's a massive food shortage.
It controls
and I think it's a way for them to get food to China.
If they own the farmland, they could decide who to sell it to.
Well, exactly.
They could decide if the crops yield, if they die. It's a lot of power. Food is like oil. It is necessary. And I know they want to tell you in the news that you hear this? Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world. No, it's not. It may be the breadbasket of that region, but the United States is the breadbasket of the world. We export food worldwide. We have an overabundance of food in this country. And China, between China and Bill Gates
take our food.
buying up all our farmland, that's dangerous. It should not be allowed. And I'll tell you, I hope that President Trump in his second term seizes all Chinese-owned farmland. That's going to be very difficult, though, because
he should make it illegal for farmers to sell their land to any company.
But you don't know.
Is not, well, they would have to look into it.
Like here in Florida, when Walt Disney bought all the land for Walt Disney, he did it he did it through fake companies, and people didn't know it until it was done. So how do you know that China owns this farm, right?
They would have to prove.
It's got to be hard.
When it comes to agricultural land, I would pass a law where they would have to prove that the company was American-based. I think China is buying all of this land because they need to feed their people. And speaking of food, I'm very upset about this. You won't care. But Subway, we had Subway today for lunch. I love Subway. Subway just made a deal with Pepsi. They're not going to have Coke anymore. So I'm very pissed off about that. I hate Pepsi.
Well, I love Pepsi.
I love Coca-Cola. Brian loves Pepsi. So just FYI, they just made a 10-year deal with Pepsi.
I thought you were going to tell me that they, I don't know, did something political and we can't eat there anymore.
It says people are very outraged over it. This whole thing, are you following this thing with Kate Middleton? I like Kate Middleton, okay, and Prince William. I like them. I'm not like huge into the royals, but I'm actually reading a book on Queen Elizabeth I. I'm getting into British history, and my mom's family's all from England and stuff. But anyway, it says there was this big scandal with her photoshopping photos. Apparently, she has photoshopped quite a few pictures, and there was a picture of the Queen with all her grandchildren, and she had photoshopped her son Louis into the picture. I don't think if you're a public figure, you should do things like that. It's deceptive, and you need to be a little more careful, especially if you're the future queen of a country. Well, now, she had this abdominal surgery, and they were very vague about, it's very unusual for a woman of her age to have abdominal surgery, but I'm wondering if it's related to her having 3 children, if she had a hernia or something, or, you know what I mean? But now 3 London clinic workers are being investigated for allegedly trying to access Kate Middleton's medical records because they won't tell people why exactly she was in the hospital and what this exact surgery was about. I don't know how I feel about this. I think she's entitled to some privacy, as a person. And if she doesn't want to disclose what surgery she had, I don't think she should have to. She's not the queen. If she's the queen, maybe it's a little different. King Charles got diagnosed with cancer. He told people right away. I think if you're the queen or the king, you need to do that. That's part of the job. But she's not, and now there's this, it's all over the Daily Mail all the time. It's a huge scandal in England that she is photoshopping, that she's lying to people, they're being deceptive now, and now these people are getting investigated for trying to dig up her medical records, and I think that's just crazy. Can't they give her a little bit of privacy?
Everybody edits their photographs on their phones. I don't know why.
Well, I don't know if she should do that being the future queen. I think it's a little weird to take a picture. I just think it's strange to Photoshop people into pictures that weren't originally in the picture. I would never do that.
Isn't Elton John the Queen of England?
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, he's a queen in England.
Right. Exactly.
Now listen, something happened yesterday in the Republican primaries. Don't miss this next segment, all right? I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. Cherish the memories of your loved ones with a resting place crafted with care and compassion with the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy.com. Everything at the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy.com is handcrafted by an artisan with over 35 years of experience in the casket and urn industry. They're family-owned and proudly local, ensuring your experience is both personal and meaningful. When you visit the Vermont Urn Company on Etsy, you'll find a wide range of urns that reflect your loved one's life and interest. From military and nature themes to birds, religious, nautical, public service, patriotic, and more. Each piece is handcrafted with care, customizable, and made right here in the United States. Use the promo code RADIO at checkout and save 10% off your purchase. Preserve the memories that matter most. Visit the shop right now on Etsy at Etsy.com/shop/The Vermont Urn Co. That's Etsy.com/shop/The Vermont Urn Co. The Vermont Urn Company, where every urn is a symbol of love, respect, and lasting memories. Etsy.com/shop/The Vermont Urn Co. Calling all anime fans. It's time to take your style to the next level with AnimeWonderland.store. AnimeWonderland.store is the ultimate destination for your top anime merch. They have it all. Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, and more. You can show your Survey Corps pride with their Attack on Titan necklace, or rock that One Piece vibe with the AnimeWonderland.store Ace Edition necklace and bracelet set. Level up your Valorant cosplay game with their replicas that are perfect for capturing all the details and showing off your love for the game. Add some cuteness to your wrist with their adorable Hello Kitty bracelet. With affordable prices, a huge selection of products, and worldwide shipping, AnimeWonderland.store has everything you need to fuel your anime obsession. Go to the shop right now, view the inventory. You will be impressed. You'll also find great gifts for the anime lover in your life. Make sure to sign up for the email list and receive an instant 10% discount on your order. Go to AnimeWonderland.store and upgrade your anime collection right now. AnimeWonderland.store.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
So these Republican primaries yesterday, they were in 5 states. Florida was one of them, okay? And Nikki Haley, she got a lot of votes, and she got like 20% of the vote yesterday. And I know people are saying, oh, those are all Democrats. Maybe in some states, but not in Florida. Florida is not a crossover party state. Florida, you can only vote in the primary in which you were registered in, okay? And that means 20% of Republicans in Florida voted for someone other than Donald Trump. And I was telling you guys, I went and voted, I guess, a week and a half ago, right? Mm-hmm. And all the people that were running are on the ballot here. Asa Hutchinson even, right? You know, Chris Christie, Vivek, all of them are on the ballot. And Trump was last. They did it alphabetically, and I guess T comes up last. So who are these Republicans? I mean, this is the most
the question
red
is,
state there is. Who are these 20%?
The question is, will they vote for Trump in the main election? Okay, Trump got the vote by 84%. That's great. But are these people going to vote for Biden or Trump I don't think it'll matter. He'll win Florida anyway. I mean, 84% is huge. But
no, it is. You know, but
so I wouldn't concern yourself too much with that. But I agree with you; it doesn't make sense. But and she got more votes than DeSantis. I think that's even more interesting in Florida. This is his own state.
Yeah,
she got 11%. He got like 6%.
So my guess on that, and I could be completely wrong on this because I haven't seen any like official breakdown of this yet. It may come out, and I don't mean polls or exit polls. I mean like official data, because that was the second part. So Nikki Haley got more votes than DeSantis, who's also on the ballot. He's our sitting governor. Maybe that 20% are mostly women who voted for Nikki Haley. I don't know, but this is what
it's just never Trumpers.
This is what I don't understand. I know, and I really don't understand this, okay? I know why the Washington Republicans don't like Trump, because they're corrupt, and this is how they make their money, and he turns that upside down. But rank-and-file voters, I'm talking about Republican voters that are never Trumpers, that 20% of them in Florida did not vote for Trump in our primary yesterday. I don't understand at all why they don't like Trump and why they don't support Trump.
Well,
I don't understand it at all.
And because I've had a few people in my life that are women have said this to me. They're voting for Trump, but this has been a constant. They don't like the way his rhetoric. They don't like the way he makes fun of people, and they say he's crude, and they don't like it. But they're willing to overlook it for what's best for the country. Obviously, they're going to vote for him because Biden's a disaster, but that's part of it too. And you know, and a lot of these people, maybe they, you know, kind of voted for Trump, not fully, you know, 100% in. So they're more easily manipulated and pulled away. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think say you have, like, she got, you know, 3 million votes. I would say probably half of those people are going to vote for Trump in the main election.
Yeah.
The other half maybe not vote at all. But they're all Republicans, so I'm assuming he'll get at least half of those votes. But I think this primary was more of, a lot of people like to make protest votes or statement votes where it can get on the news and it could say, well, she got 3 million, like you're talking about it now. And that makes them feel a sense of empowerment, like, well, that I'm one of those 3 million because I want people to know I don't like that guy. It's personal. I think a lot of it is they don't understand, like with this comment he made about a bloodbath or whatever. They get a little bit too woke and too much like the liberals, where they don't understand sarcasm or his sense of humor. Yeah. You know, like we understand the way he speaks and how he talks. Not everybody appreciates that or understands that, and they get a little too upset.
You know, and
because there's nothing in his policy to me that would warrant them not liking him. It's a personality issue.
You know, this is just my experience in business, okay? And I was talking to one of the owners of the radio station about this a couple weeks ago. It's a funny thing that, you know, people I've known that are business people or like managers of radio stations, and I've known a lot of these people over the years. They're scary people. They're very in your face. They don't have a filter. They get people that are successful in business are like Trump. That's
they're more aggressive, more assertive.
That's how. Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they become successful.
And that's exactly right. It's
it's a personality type.
So if you go to, I give an example of this where most people have seen this. If you go to a car dealership, okay, and it doesn't look like the salesman's going to sell you the car, the sales manager comes over. I remember once a couple years ago, I don't know, this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I went to a car dealer. We were thinking about getting a car. I went to you weren't with me. I was with, I was with your mother. Your mother, Kathy's mother, could make a whole living just out of making deals, buying cars. Kathy,
I don't know if she could anymore. Now they don't bargain with you anymore. But they did, she's very good.
Any car, pretty much, except Kathy's newest car. Every other car we've had, Kathy's mother goes and negotiates the deal, and they almost give us the car for free.
I told her she could do that for a living.
I'm not kidding. It's insane. It's insane. But you know how they wanted to look at our car for the trade-in, and they took the key. The sales manager wouldn't give me the key to our car back. I thought I was going to have to call the police. I said, I can't believe this guy won't give me the damn key. And if you've ever gotten to the level where you're dealing with the sales manager at a car dealership, that's how most successful businessmen are. It's a different personality type, but not that Trump's that kind of guy, but the way he was in the first campaign, he's a little different than he is today because he's much more mellow today than he was then. We've talked about that a lot. But I was also thinking this 20% of Republicans that voted for someone else other than Trump, maybe these are a lot of these people that were Democrats that fled these blue states, came here, registered as Republican.
Maybe.
And they're going back to their old ways, and they couldn't vote Democrat, so they voted for like Nikki Haley or Asa Hutchinson. Now, you were showing me this story during the break.
Well, I got two
Biden's
stories
trying to
here.
dump Kamala.
Well, Trump said that Biden wants to dump Kamala. Of course, the Biden will deny that. He said during an interview.
Trump said this, that he's trying to dump Kamala?
It says here, Washington Post columnist Kathleen Parker wrote Friday that for the country's sake, Vice President Harris should step aside. They don't want Joe. Joe Biden is the one who should step aside.
Yeah, exactly.
Please, Madam Vice President, do it for your country. Reports say Biden never considered replacing Harris, knowing the sensitivities he experienced when he was blah, blah, blah. It says here, Trump said he's a disaster, she's a disaster.
Yeah.
In history, there's never been a worse team. She's actually less popular than he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he just said that, he's really, from what he hears, he's trying to get rid of her, but that's not going to happen. He's not going to fire the first female black vice president. That's not going to happen. And then it said here, he said, it's important you pick the right person in case something happens. Things can happen, and you want to have somebody who can step in the role and be great. Trump ridiculed a list of potential running mate picks that was published Tuesday by Bloomberg, said it was not accurate at all. The list includes North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Elise Stefanik, Ben Carson, Robert Lighthizer, and Vivek Ramaswamy. He said none of those people are going to be the VP.
Who said this?
Trump.
Trump said none of them.
That's right.
Okay.
He was not interested in choosing a running mate to help him win. In terms of an election, historically, it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, that's right.
It's amazing how little it matters, and that's true. You've always said that many times.
They used to, people fall for these ridiculous lines that the fake news media sell us, and they convinced a lot of people that a running mate helps them get a part of the country, like Lyndon Johnson. Oh,
that's what they always used to say.
Kennedy picked Johnson so he could get this out. That's not true. Okay,
well, why did he pick him?
Because
isn't that the old way of thinking?
No, Lyndon Johnson was the senior senator. Okay, and he ran the Democrat Party machine, and Kennedy wasn't that popular. In fact, he barely squeaked through that election. If you remember, Nixon won that election, and then they found some ballots in Chicago, and then all of a sudden, Illinois went to Kennedy. That was all Lyndon Johnson because he was in charge of the machine back then. So they've created this thing that they help you get this, they help you get that. I mean, I cannot think of a single time I voted in a presidential election for somebody because of who the vice president was.
No, nobody has.
Nobody cares. I mean, I will say this. I did like Sarah Palin a lot when she was running for vice president, and I did not like John McCain. And
That's true.
John McCain, before he was picked for years and years, Rush attacked John McCain, and even Rush was won over by Sarah Palin to McCain. So McCain, I will say that Sarah Palin did bring something to that campaign because we all liked her.
She was more exciting than him.
Yeah,
I think that was probably the only time where, and maybe that's why Trump chose Pence, because he was so unexciting, and maybe he thought, he maybe thought of John McCain and thought he picked a VP that was more charismatic than him, and she got all the attention.
Yeah.
And so he chose somebody who had the personality of wallpaper paste. So I don't know if he'll have the same tack. I really am hoping. I know not everybody loves him. I don't know why Greg Abbott would be my number one, and then Kristi Noem. But Greg Abbott, what he is doing with the border is incredible. And he has totally made the border issue the top issue. And what he has done with putting these illegals in other cities, I think is going to really help Trump during the election because it's become the main issue. Trump said that, in Breitbart, there's an article. He said, safety and security are driving women, minority voters to me and the GOP away from the lunatic Democrats. Right. And he's right. It's the border. It's the safety. It's the crime that is being allowed, that's happening. It's these people and the young people, too, like that Laken Riley who died. She died she was killed she was jogging on campus, on a college campus, and was like abducted or killed there. I'm not exactly sure, but she was jogging on a college campus and was killed. And believe me, these young people, that's not good. I mean, you know what I mean? Believe me, that doesn't fall short on them. They're going to be worried about, well, why the hell was this guy on our college campus and he shouldn't even be here? And, you know, they don't feel safe now. And that will motivate people maybe who necessarily weren't going to vote for Trump to vote for him. They might be like, you know what? If I let Biden in another 4 years, this is only going to get worse. And I don't want to live in a country where I can't walk on my college campus. And they know that Trump is going to come in on day one and take care of this problem.
Well, you know, we've had problems with Mexico before Texas was even a state, right? I mean, there's never been a time in U.S. history where Mexico has not been a problem.
Yeah.
And I believe personally that the reason that the number one issue every voter is given through the primary is the border. And that issue has become the number one issue most important to people, I believe, personally, because of Greg Abbott and everything he's done.
I agree.
So,
it's been pivotal.
And a lot of people say, well, he's in with the Bushes. The Bushes run Texas. They always have. And there's no one in that whole – there's not a dog catcher in Texas that doesn't have their job because of the Bushes, okay? They run Texas. But, you know, President Trump used to be a New York Democrat. So I like Greg Abbott. I know some of you will disagree.
I like him.
But he has done what is almost impossible. I thought was completely impossible. He's got Democrats upset about the border. And I'll tell you, black voters across the country, the reason they're getting red pilled is because of Greg Abbott and bringing the illegals to their town. So at least he should be the head of Homeland Security and be permanently based down there at the border and clean it up because it's pretty bad. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Guys, thank you so much. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure you go to the Patreon page because Kathy and I both, separate from each other, post exclusive content up there all the time that nobody else sees except Patreon supporters. And we do that for you guys. So make sure that you take advantage of that. It is a benefit. It is a perk of being a Patreon supporter. So make sure you take advantage of that. Plus commercial-free editions of all the podcast episodes. Okay? And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you're going to hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine. Yeah, Christine's who texted me that I had the camera backwards for the first 15 minutes of the morning show. Go watch it on YouTube. You'll see it.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Ticks me off. But you do get to see the computer screen at the radio station and the control board and stuff. ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, and George. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Click that link. You may have to copy and paste it depending on what platform it is, and it'll take you there, and you become a Patreon supporter. A couple things on the mild side I just want to mention. I had something happen to me yesterday and I'm just going to throw this out to you guys quickly, and I think this is the right thing to do, okay? I had to take an Uber yesterday, and the MAGA scooter, I was getting some work done to it at the Vespa shop, so, I had to get a ride there. And yesterday, we're starting to get the summer in. It wasn't the summer heat, but it was close. Yesterday was like the first 90-degree day.
Yeah, it was warm.
And it's going to be over 100 soon enough. And the Uber driver picked me up, and I got into the car, and the air conditioning was on. And you know, when you order Uber or Lyft, it asks you, do you want the radio on? Do you want the driver to talk? Do you want the car cool and cold and all this stuff? And I always say cold, cold, cold. I like air conditioner, cold, cold, cold. You know, when I get to the radio station in the morning, first thing I do is put the thermostat to 69 degrees. Okay, I like it cold. And it was hot. He had the windows down.
It was a hot day.
And the air wasn't on. And usually when they pick you up, they got the air blasting cold. And we get through our development, get around the corner, and I'm like, well, he's not going to put the air on. It's hot as heck. So I said, hey, can we put the air on? He put the air on, and it was blowing hot air. His air conditioning was broken. And it was a long drive to where we went. So I was really kind of car sick. I called you when I got to the Vespa store. I was car sick because it was, 90 degrees plus in the Florida sun, no air conditioner. And I could tell that the Uber driver was worried that I was going to leave him a bad review because the air. And I didn't leave him a review. And I just share this because obviously this guy had a nice car. It was it was a Chevy Suburban, okay, but the air was broken in it. And this guy, I could tell he's a full-time Uber driver, and his air's broke, and he obviously doesn't have the money to fix the air, right? And
we have a listener that does Uber, and
it's hard work.
And when you have a car issue, it's your
hard
livelihood.
Work.
It's a problem.
It's hard work, yeah. And I would encourage other people when something like this happens, be a little sympathetic to the guy. I'm not going to give this guy a bad review. Sometimes you get in these Ubers and they give you bottled water and mints. I'm not exaggerating. I've had that happen more than once in an Uber and a Lyft. But I felt so bad for this guy because he's probably every ride he picks up, he's probably like, oh, they're going to leave me a bad review. They're going to leave me a bad review. Just don't leave a review. Obviously, the guy is going through some financial distress, and it's very difficult to be driving people all day in your personal vehicle as a rideshare. I don't know if most people that way, Kathy, you think, or would most people give a bad review?
I have left bad reviews for things, but only if it's really bad.
No, I mean, I would encourage people not to.
You'd have to really be like extreme rudeness. And even then, I'm kind of reluctant because people do have bad days. I haven't left a review on something in a long time, but I do leave a lot of good reviews for things.
Yeah, I don't leave bad reviews. I do leave good reviews. I don't leave bad reviews because I don't want to do something that's going to damage someone's livelihood. And obviously this was an issue with the guy. Just a little, I guess a little Uber, Lyft, rideshare driver PSA there.
Really bad or abusive.
Kathy,
I mean,
they'd have to carjack me in their own car for me to leave a bad review.
Well, I think
some of the drivers. I mean, I've gotten in some cars where it's very bad. I mean, I've been in cars that shouldn't even be on the road. I don't know how they get approved to drive, but I felt bad for the guys. So be sympathetic to these rideshare drivers, guys. You know how difficult it must be with the price of not just gasoline, but everything else that goes into maintaining a vehicle that's your full-time driving vehicle.
They make too much money because with gasoline being as it is, he had to drive you a good half hour away from here.
And the wear and tear on the vehicle is a lot.
It does put a lot on the car.
And with inflation. So, be sympathetic to your rideshare drivers, guys, okay? Well, listen, we are out of time for today. Just want to do a little rideshare driver public service, okay? But we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.